Rob Reiner and Billy Crystal were never just colleagues in Hollywood. Their friendship ran far deeper, built on decades of trust, laughter, and shared life experiences. In an industry known for temporary alliances, their bond stood as something rare and unshakable. They were brothers by choice, walking together through success and struggle, joy and heartbreak, always side by side. That is why the night of December 14th, 2025 shattered Billy Crystal's world beyond repair. When the phone rang with the news that Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Singer Reiner, had been murdered, Billy froze in disbelief. His hands trembled as the words sank in. The man who had been his constant for nearly half a century was suddenly gone. Beside him, his wife, Janice Crystal, watched the color drain from his face as silence filled the room. They drove straight to Brentwood, where police had sealed off the quiet street with flashing lights and yellow tape. When Billy stepped out of the car on South Chadbourne Avenue, grief consumed him. Tears streamed freely as he stared at the house that once felt like a second home. That home had hosted countless dinners, celebrations, and late-night conversations about films and life. Now it stood cold and silent, marked by tragedy. Billy could barely stand, his shoulders slumped, his face pale, his eyes fixed on the house where laughter once echoed. He broke down in uncontrollable sobs, supported by Janice Crystal, who held his hand tightly. Together, they placed a small bouquet of white flowers near the fence, a wordless goodbye to two people they loved deeply. But grief soon gave way to something darker. Just hours after the murders, Billy Crystal made a shocking decision. He contacted Rolling Stone, not to mourn publicly, but to reveal what he believed was a terrifying truth. His voice shook with anger and pain as he spoke about conversations he had shared with Rob Reiner before his death. Billy revealed that Rob had been deeply worried about his family's future. He had spoken about his will, changing it multiple times to protect those he loved. According to Billy, Rob feared betrayal from within his own family, particularly from a son struggling with addiction. Rob had confided these fears only to those he trusted most, and Billy was one of them. As the interview continued, Billy's grief turned into fury. He said Rob had tried everything to save his troubled child, even pouring his pain into the film. Being Charlie, a deeply personal project meant to reflect redemption and hope. Yet despite Rob's unconditional love, Billy believed that something had gone terribly wrong. "I don't believe this was random," Billy said, his voice breaking. He hinted that the truth might be far more painful than anyone imagined. Hollywood listened in stunned silence as his words spread rapidly across media outlets. The reaction was immediate. Across Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, fans around the world shared scenes from Stand By Me, The Princess Bride, This Is Spinal Tap, and When Harry Met Sally. Messages of heartbreak flooded social media. Many wrote that Rob's films had shaped their childhoods and help them understand love, friendship, and loss. Actors and filmmakers joined the mourning. Jerry O'Connell shared a heartfelt message, saying he felt as though he had lost a father. The grief felt universal, as if the world had lost more than a director. It had lost a storyteller who understood the human soul. To understand Billy's pain, one must look back to where it all began. Billy Crystal and Rob Reiner first met in the 1970s on the set of All in the Family, where Rob played Meathead. Billy was a young actor new to Los Angeles, unsure of his place in the industry. From their first scenes together, they connected instantly. Between takes, they laughed endlessly. Billy once joked that if they worked this well together, they should be friends in real life. Rob laughed and called him a brother. That simple moment began a friendship that lasted nearly 50 years. They watched Dodgers games together, roasted each other at Friars Club events, and supported one another through divorces, career doubts, and personal triumphs. When Rob became a director, Billy became his creative partner. Together, they created unforgettable moments in films that would define generations. The house in Brentwood symbolized everything they shared. It was where ideas were born, where families gathered, where life felt safe. That is why its silence now feels unbearable to Billy Crystal. He didn't just lose a friend that night. He lost a brother, a home, and a part of himself that can never be replaced.